Nice easy DIY job today. I'm going to show you how I put up one of these mirrors. Hiya folks, welcome back to Gosforth Handyman. I'm Andy Mack and I'm putting up one of these mirrors in my daughter's bedroom today. I thought I would show you how I go about doing a job like this. I'll quickly run you through everything you're going to need for this job. Spirit level, hammer, tape measure, some Frogtape, my patent dust catcher. In terms of fittings, I'm just going to use 6mm Fischer DuoPower plugs. They work in pretty much any type of wall. I'm using some 10 gauge by 1 3/4 inch screws, or you can use 5x40mm or whatever you would consider appropriate for the weight of the mirror that you're putting up. We've got the actual fitting brackets for the mirror. The fixed ones that don't move around go at the bottom, and the ones with the springy bit on, like that, they go at the top. We've got a nice sharp pencil, a detector for finding pipes and cables, just my Combi drill with a 6mm masonry bit on, and of course a screwdriver. I'm using a one with a Posi 2 bit on it, or you can use an electric screwdriver or impact driver or whatever you're comfortable using. There's links to most of this stuff, or modern day equivalents, because these are all quite old now, in the description below. As with everything, there's a number of different ways you can go about doing this. The first thing I like to do is to work out what height I want it to be. In this case, I want it to be a little bit off the desk here. I am using Frogtape for this. What I would suggest, if you want to play safe, and Frogtape is pretty good at not ripping paint off the wall, but to be on the safe side, what I sometimes do is I just put it on a bit of clothing and just peel it off a couple of times, and then that just removes a little bit more of the tack off the back of the tape. Get this out of the road. And I want the middle of the mirror to be roughly in line with the middle of this desk, so I'm going to put this bit of tape roughly around where the middle of the desk is. I'm then going to measure a bit more accurately just to get the exact centre point. So I'm just measuring the width of this desk is 1040, so we're looking at 520. So 520, I'm going to put a tiny little dot of a mark on the wall there that I can barely even see. And then using my spirit level, I'm just going to carry that up onto the bit of tape. So I've got my level perfect there. I'm on the dot, and I'm just going to put a little mark on that bit of tape there. Then we also want to find the middle point of the bottom of the mirror. So I know it's somewhere around here. Put a little fold on the tape. It makes it easier to get it back off. I'm at a bit of a strange camera angle here, but you'll just have to take my word for it that this is about the middle of the mirror. In fact, I would guess it's about there. Whenever you want to find the middle of something like this, and if it's an awkward width that's going to be difficult to divide by 2, what I like to do is just find a number that's pretty close to the centre. So we'll say 38 centimetres, so we'll say there. And then just measure it from the other side. Oh, look at that, we're pretty much spot on. There's 38 there. Split the difference, put your mark in the middle of those two marks. If you grab anything with a straight edge on it, you can just carry that down towards the bottom. Like that. And then we just need to work out how far in we want the little brackets to be at the bottom of the mirror. I normally come in about 2 or 3 inches. Check with the manufacturer of your mirror. It obviously depends on how big the mirror is and stuff like that. But I'm quite happy to come to about there. And just measure from that to the centre point. And we have got a nice round 30 centimetres. So I'm just going to write that on here so I don't forget. 30. And then we're just going to put a little mark on the wall, 30 centimetres that way, I'm just going to line up the 30 with that little mark, and I'm just going to use the end of the tape measure to put a little mark on the wall. As long as that's above the height of the mirror, you're not going to see it. Same this way, I'm on the 30 on the center mark, a little mark on the wall there. Going to then pick a definite point for the bottom of the mirror. We'll pick about there. Then spirit level. The top of my spirit level is perfectly in line with the mark there, and I'm just going to make a little mark here that crosses the mark that we made with the tape measure, and now I'm going to put a proper little cross there. Exactly the same on this side. Spirit level's perfectly level. I'm on the mark there, and then a little mark that crosses that mark there. Then get your detector. We're just going to check there's no nasties in the wall. I've already made a video all about not drilling through pipes and cables in walls. I'll include a link in the description to that. The thing that I'm looking for here is, are there any sockets underneath here, which there aren't? Are there any radiators around? What's on the other side of this wall? So these are all the things that go through my mind before I drill into this. Ignore the beeping, there's nothing coming on the actual display. If I just move across the wall, I'm starting to get a reading around here. So there's something going up the wall, kind of here, but there's nothing back here. Nothing coming on the display, and same here, nothing coming on the display. The beeping is just a false positive. I'll make a separate video all about how to use a detector properly. So don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm just going to pull this desk out to give us a little bit more room to get the dust catcher in. I'm going into the wall, the depth of the screw. Then we'll just attach the lower brackets in. Remember, it's the fixed bracket at the bottom and the springy bracket at the top with these sort of brackets. And then what I like to do, get a bit of frog tape ready. Again, de-tack it on your clothes a little bit. Put it somewhere nearby. Get your mirror. Pop it on the lower brackets. Get your piece of tape and just pop that roughly in line with your bottom bracket, exactly level with the top of your mirror, like that. Get your mirror back off. So then, with the way these brackets work, obviously we'll want this bracket to be nice and tightly closed when the mirror is in line with the bottom of that bit of tape. So you definitely don't want to be too high up. If anything, what I like to do is just drop down by about 5mm. So I'm putting about a 5mm gap between the bottom of that piece of tape and the top of the bracket. I'm only roughly above this bracket at the minute. We'll sort that out in a minute. But I'm just going to mark where the screw hole is. And then I'm going to get my spirit level, come up exactly from the centre of that bracket. If your spirit level's not long enough, put a tiny mark on the wall. You can always rub it off afterwards. Nice and level up to that mark that we made before. We can see where that mark is. So that's our point that we're going to have to drill for that top bracket just there. For the other side, I'm going to come up perfectly level, and again I'm just going to put a little mark on the wall very faintly with a pencil, roughly in line with that. So I'm going to come down about here. I'm then going to come across from this mark, and just at the point where that crosses the mark that I've just put up here. Put a little mark. That's our drilling point there. I always test the detector on my belt buckle to test it's working before using it. Nothing on the scale, all good. All good there as well. Don't over tighten them if you're using an electric driver. I like to get them just gripping and then use a manual screwdriver just to make sure they're nice and level and nice and tight. Perfect. Get rid of your bits of tape now. Just get a damp cloth and rub any pencil marks off the wall that you've made. Here's a little freebie tip for you, and I was barely touching the wall when I put this pencil mark on. This just won't come off. Very rare that this happens. If it does, here's a little tip for you. Get a little bit of toothpaste, tiny bit. It's gone. The toothpaste's very slightly abrasive, and sometimes it can just help to get pencil marks off that are a little bit stubborn. Obviously give the wall a wipe afterwards so that it doesn't stink to toothpaste. Don't wipe too hard with the toothpaste on your cloth because it will wear the paint off the wall. And obviously test it on a hidden area first. But sometimes that little tip can get you out of a sticky situation. Also works for getting little marks off baths as well. Again, similar thing here. Here's me rubbing that pencil mark with a normal damp cloth. As I say, sometimes it just comes straight off, but sometimes depending on the paint it doesn't behave itself. Tiny bit of toothpaste. That's all I've got. I don't know if you can see. Gone. It's behind the mirror anyway, no one's ever going to see it. And then just lift your mirror into place, into your top brackets first, and you're going to push up a bit. And then I'm just aligning my centre point with the centre of the desk. If you want to double check, you want to make sure you've got the same gap here as you've got here, but it looks pretty good to me. Perfect. So there you go, folks. Nice, easy DIY job, but hopefully you've picked up a couple of little tips here and there from that. Let me know in the comments if you've ever fitted a mirror like this, and if there's any tips that you've got that you might do things slightly differently to the way that I do things. Also, it would be really interesting to know what is the heaviest picture or mirror that you've ever put up on a wall. Pop it down in the comments below. Don't forget, there's a link in the description to remind you how not to drill through pipes and cables hidden in walls. Needless to say, always follow the manufacturer instructions that come with the mirror and with the fixings that you're using. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I shall see you next time. Bye!